Hey, fourth graders, we are super excited to be starting a new unit that incorporates reading, writing, and social studies all together on a topic we think a lot of you are already super familiar with, and that is YouTube. So this unit is YouTube Right for You, is going to be beginning this week, and I'm quickly going to go over an overview of the unit and then review with you how to take notes during the unit so you can have success at the unit's final activity. So over the next few weeks, we're going to be reading to learn both the benefits and the drawbacks that YouTube can present to kids. During this unit, we'll need to think to ourselves, how can YouTube be useful or helpful to kids? And how could YouTube be a problem for kids? To discover both the pros and cons of using YouTube, we're going to be working each day to find evidence and also to draw our own conclusions about this growing video platform. Each day, we're going to build our knowledge through various different tasks. You might be thinking to yourself, well, what exactly am I going to have to do during this unit? During this unit, you're going to be reading news articles to search for those pros and cons or the benefits and the problems of YouTube for kids. Each day, you're going to be answering some guiding questions. These questions will help you think and draw conclusions about more benefits and problems with YouTube. You're going to gather the evidence by taking notes each day on both the positives and the negatives of YouTube for kids. At the end of the unit, you'll be planning an essay using those notes, writing that essay to support your opinion, and finally, you'll present your ideas in a video. Taking good notes is a way to ensure you have success with this unit of lessons. So I'm going to briefly review with you how to gather the data each day in your notes. So I know that this is a really familiar place for all of our fourth graders. I am currently on the Myon icon in your Clever, and our projects are going to be using the Myon News. So that's this tab of Myon. Myon News gives us articles on some of the current events happening around us. And I've pulled up one of the articles about YouTube. This is not one that will be part of your project, but there are many articles in our Myon News about YouTube to help us gather information. So I want to share with you real quick a couple of things you'll need to know to gather the information as you're reading. So each day you'll have a lesson that includes an article like the one you see, and I want you to recognize over to the right that we have a globe icon. When we click that, we get a map. In this case, this article doesn't really lend itself to telling you where it's located since it's an internet topic, YouTube. Then there's this icon of like a video, and we see the little play triangle there. So I'm going to click that.
Hi guys, today on Will It Slime, we're going big.
So as you can see, the article comes with a video. Okay, you'll see over here that we also have this icon for a slideshow. I've already clicked it once, so I'm going to click it again, and you see that the images pop up. So we have images, and they also have a caption underneath. We're going to need to make sure that we look at all of the images and read the captions as well to help us gather more information from each article. When we're gathering information from the article, one of the things we really need to be certain we're staying on top of is note-taking. Unlike the books that we read in Myon, I do not have my tools here in Myon, including the journal where I could take notes. So we're going to have another method of taking notes each time we're reading articles. Some students may prefer to have a notebook paper that they have on their workspace where they make a column on their paper for the benefits and the problems with YouTube. So a T chart on a notebook paper, and you could write notes as you're reading and finding the pros and cons of YouTube for Kids. Other students would prefer to use their keyboard and type notes, and I'm going to show you how you can do that while you're reading the article today. One way we can take notes is by having one tab of your computer open to your Mayan and your news article, and then opening a second tab to your Microsoft account. In your Clever homeroom, it looks like this, Office 365, and you log into that using your Microsoft password, which is your student number at hcps.net. It's the same login you use for Flipgrid. When you're into your Microsoft Office, you can open a Word document. You'll want a blank document. And now you just have a blank piece of paper where you're able to take notes about the pros and cons of YouTube for Kids. I like to set up my document with a grid to take my notes on. So I would come over here to the Insert tab, and I would insert a table. I need it to have a column for pros and cons, so I'm going to make it 3 wide, and I'll just insert it like this. So over here on this side, on the farthest left column, I'm going to put the article title. The first column, I'm going to put the pros. Those are the benefits of YouTube. And then in the next column, I'm going to put the cons of YouTube. Those are the problems. You may want to use the word problems if that helps you to know better what you're taking notes on. So these grids look very small, but when I move my cursor into the grid, I can type and type and type and type and type, and it will keep growing bigger and bigger and bigger for however big my notes are. So I can start with it small, and I don't need to take a bunch of time sizing it. And as I type in my notes, the space will grow bigger. So I'm going to go back. I can go from my document to my article and back and forth to take notes. So I opened it. So in this article, the first paragraph tells me, bring on the slime. Many kids love to play with the goopy and colorful stuff. Adam Vandergrift does too. He created a YouTube channel full of slimy experiments. Will It Slime has more than 1.5 million subscribers. So this paragraph doesn't tell me a pro or a con, but I can draw that conclusion myself by thinking that kids do love to play with slime, and his channel tells you all kinds of experiments you can use. So I want to add this information to my notes. So up in my tab, I go back to my document, and I'm going to write a pro or a positive of YouTube is kids. I'm going to use actually a bullet point to help me take my notes. So if I go back here, I can click on the bullet point. Kids can find many ways. I'm going to put experiments, be more specific. Experiments to do using slime. And then I'm going to put in parentheses, which kids love. So I have a note here of a pro of YouTube. If I like using slime, I can go to YouTube and find a whole bunch of experiments to do using slime. So that's a benefit of YouTube. And I can continue to do this back and forth as I read the article. I can go back to my notes and add more notes. I do need to add the title of the article, which is YouTube Stars Will It Slime. I want to add that title, so I'm going to highlight it, right-click and copy. I can go back to my document, put my cursor in the title space, right-click and paste. Okay, I need to paste with Control V. Okay, Control V. There we go. So you can see that when you have your Word document open and your text open, you can copy paste to take notes. You can type in notes on your own. When I'm ready for another one, I can just return and it's going to give me another bullet point. And as you see, my space will get larger and larger to have enough room to hold all of the notes I take. I'm going to take notes while I'm reading, and I'm also going to be answering questions on my Mayan writing task. When I finish answering those questions, I'm going to go back to my document and I'm going to add some new notes, because after answering the questions, it may have led me to some new thinking about the benefits or the negatives of YouTube for Kids. Refer back to this video to remind you about the unit we're working on and how to take notes so that you have a successful end of unit project with your writing task.